The Chargers got a dominating victory over the Cowboys over the weekend. And we got a special guest joining us today to discuss the Cowboys game, and we're going to get into what the Texas game is going to look like in Week 17. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's happening? It's your boy, Coach Defense here, alongside my guy, Young RG. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in the building. We have none other than Taylor from the Electric Edge Podcast. How you doing out there?
I am doing great today. It is Victory Monday, so I couldn't be better. I always say when the Chargers win on Sunday, I can't have a bad week. So thank you so much for having me on the show. And I am super excited to talk Chargers football and that win yesterday and talk about the upcoming matchup with the Texans on Saturday.
Absolutely. Indeed. So, yes, we're feeling good. We're feeling the vibes coming off a nice, righteous victory against the Cowboys on Sunday in Jerry World, ironically enough, 34-17. So we're looking good. We're flying high. Got some bad news to talk about as well. We're going to get into that. A little bit of dirty work by the NFL happening this past day and a half with some suspensions doled out. But
they're not even trying to hide it anymore, man.
I know, it's real dirty work. But Young RG, good sir, how you feeling as well? What's going on out there?
Yeah, man, just, replicating what Taylor said. I mean, when the Chargers win, no matter what day it is, the week can't be ruined. So we're looking to go 2-0 in Texas this year. Well, not in Texas, but against Texas teams.
There you go.
Very, very excited for this matchup.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to jump into things, and we're going to talk about the matchup, the showdown from Jerry World. The Chargers got a nice 34-17 victory. With touch and go in the first half, back and forth a little bit, but the Chargers double up on them in both halves. The score at the end of the half, and that come out and score again at the top of the third quarter, and then they seem to take control. But before we get into that, we got to talk about some glaring news here. We got to talk about, as we review this week, we got to talk about Denzel Perryman. So apparently, the league decided to not only get involved with the Chargers business, but he actually suspended Denzel Perryman for 2 games, the last 2 games of the season. Now, I don't know how y'all guys feel, but that seems intentional. It's only 2 games left. From a guy that hadn't got even flagged for a penalty period this year in 10 games that he's played. Not only did he not get fined or even, thrown out the game, but he got suspended for the next 2 games via league mandate. So I don't know. Maybe we can blame DK Metcalf on this. Maybe he just set a bad precedence and, they just want to dole all punishments left and right to anybody that seemed guilty. But I'm going to start with Taylor first. Please tell us exactly how you feel about this particular suspension. And do you think it was warranted? What do you feel about it?
Yeah, so, when you see comments on X saying the NFL is rigged and then you see something like this, it kind of feels like you're a little bit validated in your thoughts. I think this is a really bad call by the league. To your point, he has been flagged all year for this. I think the last time he got fined for something like this was in 2023 when he was with the Texans. Mm-hmm. And, watching that play in full speed, Flournoy catches the ball and it looks like he's about to get up because he wasn't touched. And Perryman hits him. Now, you can argue the helmet-to-helmet contact. Okay, but that does not warrant a 2-game suspension when you take a look at everything that went on yesterday in the league. DK Metcalf punches someone in the stands, and he gets a 2-game suspension. Or as they put it, he's suspended for the rest of the regular season, which is 2 games, right? And then if you watch the Jacksonville-Denver game, Trevor Lawrence gets blindsided by a defender after the whistle's blown, and nothing happens in that game. And we talked a little about this before the show started, just kind of the bias around the Chargers this year. Like, they don't get any media coverage. They're a really quiet 11-4 team. They have probably the toughest last 2 games of the season coming up with any NFL team.
Yes.
And then you see someone like this get suspended, who's a big part of their defense, especially their run defense, it raises some eyebrows as to what the intention is behind this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Again, just to jump directly to suspension versus, the escalation that typically happens. You either get a penalty, then they come maybe the subsequent Saturday, you get a fine, and then, you go back to square one. They jump right to suspension on this when there's a lot of implications involved here. It's a perennial game getting ready to happen on Saturday with the Texans and the Chargers. This is playoff positioning. Could be for the division for the Chargers perspective, 1 seed involved. There's a lot to digest here that's on the line here. So for them to do this, again, seems intentional. And they kind of like they're picking on the little guy here. The smaller market teams that, don't make a lot of waves or are in the media a lot. And we're going to pick on them to make an example out of somebody. I don't know. But RG, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, I share all those sentiments, man. Like, and going back to what Taylor said about when the last time he got fined, he did get suspended that season. I think it was either 2 or 3 games, I want to say it was. But at that point, it had been multiple penalties that had accumulated over the course of the season. So they needed to lay down some kind of hammer in the sense of like, okay, we need to, really send a message to him here. So when he does come back, hopefully he can keep it under control. But to your point, Coach, he had no penalties up on this year. He had playing clean football, clean physical football. So fine, you want to find the guy, flag, I got no problem with that. But to suspend him, and not even just 1 game, but both in a crucial moment in this AFC playoff race. I mean, I know fans hate to, when it's not your team, fans hate to hear, oh, the NFL is rigged, this and that. But I mean, dude, look, to Taylor's point, look at all the violentness there was a damn scrum in the Eagles game. The Eagles Commanders game, people were throwing punches.
Nobody got suspended.
No suspensions, but because we get a 1 helmet-to-helmet contact, and this is where I say the league really just doesn't like certain coaches or certain teams, whatever you want to say. I truly, it was baffling when I saw that he got suspended for 2 games. So now you're basically saying that a helmet-to-helmet in the game is the same as going out into the stands and punching a fan. That's what the NFL is telling us right here.
That's the equivalent based upon this precedence that they just said. So yeah, and again, no warning. Again, guys get fined. We saw. I hate to go back to this, but we saw Quentin Johnson get helmet-to-helmet contact early on in the season, and no fine, no suspension, no flag, no nothing. I mean, clear helmet-to-helmet in slow-mo. It looked egregious. I mean, Pat Bryant got sent to the hospital in the Denver game, and nobody got a flag on that either. So again, picking and choosing and trying to punish the little guys. I told RG this example earlier in the day, and I'm gonna reiterate it here. It's like you have a child, and the child, you feel like you need to punish him for something, but you have no evidence of what you need to punish them for. So the moment they leave that one glass on the counter, didn't put it in the sink that one time, automatically 2 weeks grounded. So it seemed like they're doing that. Like I'm just waiting for you to do something. Or a team had to axe the grind. Like, I don't want to say, put dirt on the Texans or anybody that we have to play, but it's almost like we got to figure out a way to get an advantage. And we're going to point certain things out and build a case. So when it comes to the point where he does get flagged, we can drop the hammer. So that's why I line it up at. So I don't know. I don't like it.
The only thing that really just confuses me with it is the NFL loves to do this, like, we need to use you as an example. And it's like, and they just throw all of their traditional, like, okay, that's fine. Then a suspension if you continue. Like, they're just like, nope, we need to send a message to the league, and we're going to do it to a team that is firmly in the race for their division, and then a little bit in the race for the 1 seed.
Right. Make the punishment punitive, so you kind of quote unquote calm things down.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but we'll see. He will appeal, and hopefully he wins it. I'm hoping they bring it down just as the fine so he can play. Worst case scenario, maybe 1 game so he can play against the Broncos game, because that game's going to look like it's going to mean something in week 18. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right, so getting to the game itself, like I said, going back to the Cowboys game, nice 34-17 victory. Very solid defense played in the second half by the Chargers. It was touch and go for a little bit, like I said at the top of the show. We kind of trading back touchdowns back and forth. They got a field goal towards the end of the second quarter. Then we came out and scored a touchdown, and then we doubled back on the third quarter time frame and got a field goal, and we were in clear command of the game at that point. And the Chargers played shutout defense in the second half for 2 weeks in a row. So I love that aspect of it. But initial thoughts from the panel. How do you guys feel about the game and how things went? And give me your brief synopsis of what you think about this particular performance. Taylor, I'm going with you first.
Okay, yeah. I thought I was a little concerned in the first half with how many yards the defense was giving up, and Dak just seemed to have his way. But great second half adjustments by this defense. I thought it was a really balanced offensive game. I mean, Herbert threw for 300 yards. They had 152 yards rushing yesterday too.
Yes, indeed.
And then I got to give, props to the offensive line. 0 sacks yesterday, which is very rare that we've seen this year by this Chargers offensive line. Granted, they were going against a weak defense, but, a game like that hopefully built some momentum going into the Texans game where you're going to have a completely different pass rush, pass defense you're going to go up against. I thought this was a very balanced game. I love Greg Roman's game plan. I thought it was very similar to week 1 against Kansas City. Herbert used his legs when he needed to, got the run game going. He was distributing the ball all over the place. I thought it was a great road win for the Chargers to get to 11-4 on the year.
Okay. Young RG?
Yeah, I mean, I got to share those same sentiments, man. I think like in the first half of this game was obviously very stressful. It was just like a blow for blow matchup. These offenses, none of these defenses were stopping anything in the first half. But I really think the end of that first half is really what turned the tide. The Chargers are able to go down, score a touchdown to go or kick a field goal. It was to tie the game. They scored at some point at the end of the half to tie this game at 17 apiece. And you knew for the Chargers, because obviously we kicked off, you get ball at half. So a little bit of trying to double up there. And I mean, they came out, got that field goal in the second half to start. And like to Taylor's point, the defense just really made some great halftime adjustments. Jesse Minter, it's really weird. X is like extremely volatile. Because after that first half, I saw people comparing him to Brandon Staley, and I'm like, whoa. I even had to respond to one of those. I was like, don't you dare put Jesse Minter in the same breath as that hack, okay? They are in completely different stratospheres. And ultimately, Jesse Minter, like we have come to know and trust, turned that defense around in the second half. Pickens had a day against us, but CD, was kind of kept in check. The thing that was really scaring me this game was going to be the run defense. I really thought Javonte Williams was going to have a field day on us. So when we were able to contain him for that first half, although we gave up 17 points, it was all through the air. And I'm like, okay, I'm happier with that because I know this secondary can easily flip it around. I wasn't sure if, Javonte gets going early, it would have been a long, long day for us. So great halftime adjustments. Herbert, this is what we know he can do when he gets some protection. He can absolutely torch you. I mean, this is his first game all year where he's had multiple 20-plus yard passing touchdowns in the same game. He only had 4 all year coming into this. So, I mean, there's just not enough great things you could say about this team. When you give Herbert time and the way this defense is playing, they are legit Super Bowl threats.
Yes. And that's sans 2 all-pro tackles. So imagine that if we have that going for us, what our lives would be like right now. But we're not going to, we're not going to project. But yes, I definitely share all you guys' sentiments, and it was definitely a complete victory. I think we can say that. And now we hadn't said it a lot this year, but I think there was a complete victory top to bottom. I liked it. Get into the game, the team stats real quick, and if they won every aspect of it. And I did not realize this until last week, but the Chargers lead the league in time of possession.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that is the underrated stat. They lead the league in time possession. They win the time possession battle constantly, week in and week out, and that's going to win you a lot of ball games. I call it the 3 T's. Well, maybe not 3 T's, but three points of emphasis to win games. 3 basics: time of possession, penalties, and yards. If you can out-yard, create less penalties, and get them off the time of possession clock, and you win the time possession battle, that typically will lead to the idea that you can win a lot of ball games. So. And they did all those things in this particular aspect of it. We won less penalty. We gained more time of possession than they did. We had more yards, 452 to 340. So that's a winning formula. So I like what they did there.
Won the turnover battle too.
Yep.
Yeah, won a turnover battle too. Exactly. Ironically, there wasn't a whole lot of turnovers in this game, period. I mean, no interceptions at all.
There was no punts in the first half.
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy to say, but yeah, I mean, just from a team perspective, y'all kind of hit on the idea already that Herbert had a 300-yard game, 2 touchdowns, no sacks. That's the biggest, most glaring stat that we can say because that number has been high for every game that we've covered in this whole entire season. Mario Hampton lead the charge with 85 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Justin Herbert had a touchdown and rushing for 42 yards. Kamani Vidal got injured in this matchup, so we're going to, keep our fingers crossed for that. But Quentin Johnson breakout game, 104 in the touchdown, one-handed at that. Alad McConkey ringed in with another touchdown. So yeah, overall complete and concise game that they've done. They did give us some yards in the air, like you said. George Pickens had 130 in the touchdown, but outside of that, it's pretty solid defensive stretch. And he had 91 yards on the ground, but it was through 6 people. So I'll live with it. Any comments on the stats before we get into the positive and negatives?
I have one. So I actually had someone ask me about the time possession piece. And coming out of the bye, every single game the Chargers have won in their 4-game win streak, it's been a 9-minute differential between them and their opponent. So every single game, it's 9 minutes. So that is the magic formula: 9-minute time possession differential, and they are set up for success.
Yeah, that's a great stat because I think we had a 9-minute drive in the third quarter that ate up a lot of time that would ultimately, lend to your point that we, had that edge in time of possession because we had that long drive, which ultimately ended in the score. So yeah, I definitely agree. That's a great number to kind of highlight. So yeah, definitely like that.
I'll just say for my one stat, man, and I've been on Quentin Johnston a lot, especially at the start of this season. I was calling for him to get cut after we drafted Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith. So if anybody wants to join me in the apology letter line, yep,
yes,
come on in. We're ready for you. I mean, QJ, there's just not, if you're hating on him at this point, you don't respect what this coaching staff has done for him and how they've able to turn his confidence around. And you don't respect what he's done for himself, putting in the work, going out there, Herbert constantly giving him that confidence and that trust. I mean, and I even tweeted this too. People might not want to admit it just because of they're a little bit scarred from what he's shown you in the past. But when Quentin Johnston gets going, this offense is humming, man.
It is.
Even in that first game against, like we pointed out, Taylor, week 1 against the Chiefs, he had two touchdowns of like 90-some yards. I mean, when he can get going and he's your downfield threat, it just opens up the field for everybody else. And I mean, just look at the receiving stats, man. Nobody had more than one drop. And the one drop Trey Harris had, he dislocated his finger.
How about that? It took that for us to drop a pass. That's all you need to know right there. I love it. Yeah, I did a whole video on Quentin Johnston in the preseason. So yeah, I've been on his head top too. So I would have to.
Come on, coach.
Bring it in. Respectfully, when he made that one-handed catch, it took about 5 minutes for my jaw to come off the ground. It did. I'm being honest. I wouldn't expected it. I was like, he's gonna drop that. He only got one hand. He's not catching that, and he brought it in. So hey, respect is due. Respect is due. And shout out to my guys from the Lightning Strike podcast because we've been collectively bashing him in the preseason. So we said to each other in DM that we have to give our props and call him directly and say, we're sorry.
Yeah. If I ever see him in real life, I'm just going to be like, QJ, you don't know who I am, but I'm sorry.
Right. I'll introduce myself and tell him why. Indeed. Okay. All right, so let's get into the positives real quick. Like I talk about, they won the big 3, the time possession, yards, and penalties. They definitely won that. They didn't give up any sacks. Balanced offense, like Taylor underscored at the top of the show. Balanced offensive game. Run game was dominant, 4.6 yards to carry. That's always going to bode well for this type of team that likes to run the ball. We talked about Quentin Johnson just now and his performance, his breakout performance. So that was great. In the second half defense, I mean, what can you say about it? Pitching the shutout for 2 weeks in a row. Those adjustments that have been crucial. They've made their quality changes they need to make in order to take away what they like to do best, and it's been generating wins. So I have nothing bad to say about that particular aspect of it. Keep doing it. So from your guys' perspective, what do you anything that's not on this list that you want to highlight that's positive that you took from the game?
The one thing I continue to love to see is Trevor Penning out there as the 6th offensive lineman. He just demolishes people when he gets the opportunity. I mean, I think there was the one flag that was called on him on Hampton's run, and Harbaugh it was not a hold. Then Harbaugh in his press conference, it was so beautiful they had to call a hold.
That part.
I really love that they're incorporating him. We thought, at least I saw, them trading. He was going to try to go in left tackle, even though he hasn't been a very good left tackle in the NFL.
Right.
But I really love what Greg Roman and this offense is doing, incorporating him as his 6th offensive lineman, he's just absolutely insane and will just demolish people when he gets the chance.
I agree. He may not be an every down guy, but he definitely can run block. If he can't do nothing else, he can run block. And I think they actually need to call that hold on Scott Matlock because he held. But but I guess Penning's block was so good. They was like, just throw a flag on him. That was too good.
They saw number 64 going in motion. They're like, oh, we got to throw a flag because that man cannot be moving that fast. That is not okay.
Yeah, I like that. So yes, definitely. I guess, kudos to Trevor Penning for definitely getting that pancake block. And again, like John Marble said, it was just too good. They had to throw a flag. That's a beautiful way to cap it off. But yeah, getting to the negatives real quick. Not much here, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not a lot I can browbeat or micromanage in this particular aspect of it, but they did have an issue with pass rush early, in my opinion. It were a little bit shaky there getting after Dak. He had a lot of time to throw, which playing heavy zone that will make your zones fall apart, and Dak will have holes to throw the ball into and get it to his receivers. So that was a little issue. RG brought up the point about the run defense being leaky early on in the game. We thought Javonte was going to have a big game, but luckily they was able to corral that. And then, of course, trouble containing George Pickens, especially. He was definitely having his way with Cam Hart throughout the game. But I guess we'll give him a mulligan. We'll give him a mulligan, because it didn't result in us losing the game. But anything you guys want to highlight from a negative perspective?
I don't want to talk too much about the negatives because we did win. And at the end of the day, the wins are what matters. But giving up 17 points to that offense, that's a pretty damn good job, if you ask me.
I agree. I definitely agree to that. Yes, definitely. I mean, it actually might be a positive.
If you'd have told me we're holding the top offense in the league to 17 points and we shut them out in the second half, I would have been like,
yes,
another miniature miracle.
Indeed. So yeah, that's like giving up only 17 points to the Rams, who offense is probably the best in the league as well on the NFC side. So yes, I definitely agree with that.
I'll just quickly address it too, just because now that we're talking about the negatives, I saw some people that were like upset about the lack of pass rush, and obviously you want to see your pass rush get there, but the Cowboys, if there's one thing the Cowboys do well, and it's not a lot, it's produce O-linemen. I mean, they are just an O-line factory. Them and the Eagles, it just seems like every year they have the best out there. It doesn't matter who they draft, doesn't matter when they draft him. Their O-line coach is just so great. So it really didn't surprise me that our pass rush got, shut down as much as it did. It did enough. And one thing that I love about this team that we have never been able to see in years past is when the offense is struggling, the defense picks them up. When the defense is struggling a little bit, offense steps right up. I mean, they were going blow for blow in that first half. So it's like we're not used to that. We're used to seeing one half of this team fall apart, and then that's it.
That's crazy to say that. We don't see complimentary football at all. That's crazy to say. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Complimentary football is the term, and when you play complimentary football, that wins Super Bowls. So yes, I definitely agree with you. We haven't seen it a lot, and we definitely have seen it in this Harbaugh regime, and it's getting better by the week. And I'm happy for it. So anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about the injury report real quick. It's a little lengthy list here, but not detrimental in a sense where anything long-term I'm thinking is here, but we got to address it. So clearly, the rolling thing is Justin Herbert with a broken hand. That's not going to change. He has the glove on. He has the screws and pin in it. So we're going to keep monitoring that. Kamani Vidal did go out with a neck injury in the game, so he's day-to-day. These Harbaugh said he may miss some time, but it's not long-term. He does not feel like. Darius Davis has been out for the last couple weeks with ankles, so we're going to see him come back now. Honestly, I've actually liked Keandre Lambert-Smith and Kamani before he went out, returning kicks in his place. I'm not mad at that. So he can heal up as long as he needs to, because I'm actually the returning kicks. Trey Pipkin was a DNP as well with his injury, so hopefully he practiced a little bit last week, so maybe he'll make it back for the Texans game. But Dupree was a late scratch. He hurt his back in practice, I want to say. He was in and out of practice this past week, so he didn't play. Dante Jackson came out with the game with a groin, so that was we got to monitor that. Benjamin St. Juste, his injury looked a little rough. He looked like he was holding his shoulder pretty bad in that space, so he's got to monitor his situation. And RJ Mickens missed the game entirely because of shoulder injury from last week, so he was out. And Jamari Salyer went out in the game with a hamstring injury, and that kind of made me nervous a little bit because we had to deal with Deculus at left tackle, but we managed to keep it at bay despite all that. But yeah, so I think these guys, we'll work them back in slowly. Some guys may come back this week and maybe the following week with the Broncos game, but hopefully we'll get everybody back healthy by the time the playoffs hit. Any thoughts on the injury report?
Let's see. So listen to a little bit of what Harbaugh had mentioned today. I think some of the in-game injuries that happened yesterday, he doesn't see them being long-term. So Dante Jackson maybe back next week. Jamari Salyer, same thing. So let's fingers crossed that they're really not that serious and they just need a little R&R to get back, especially on a little bit of a short week with Saturday. I do want to mention, because I'm not sure how many people had picked it up. So post game, the Chargers had posted a video inside the locker room of Coach Harbaugh's speech, and they panned to Justin Herbert, and he had off his glove, and you could see his hand, and his hand was swollen.
Well, I saw that. Yeah.
You know, after he had that long run and you know, took that hit and went to the ground, like it looked like he didn't want to move his left hand at all. So, you know, we'll see how much he practiced this week. I know last week he logged almost a full week of practice. He wasn't limited. So I want to just keep an eye on that if he is limited at all this week, considering how bad that hand looked post game.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just piggybacking off that a little bit too. Herbert, my guy, gotta slide, dude. Yeah. Please. Especially with a broken hand. You got a massive gain. Just go down. I know you're a competitor. I know you want to score, but please, for the sanity of all Chargers fans everywhere, just slide.
Yes, that's all we need. Yes, indeed. But yeah, definitely want to get Kamani Vidal back, because that three-headed or two-headed rush monster that we got going on with him and Mario Hampton was working for my money. So hopefully he can come back in short order. If we get Trey Pipkin back and we can put Barbara Hart back on the bench, I might be okay with that. But yeah, the secondary I'm a little concerned about. I think, you know, we got to get healthy there. You know, with the Denzel issue is a whole other aspect of it. But I want to say we need to have a healthy secondary going against those Texas receivers. So if we can get as many guys as we can back as possible, I would love to see that come Saturday. So we'll keep an eye on it. But speaking of that, let's talk about the Texas game real quick. Let's give a quick few highlights. We're probably gonna do a preview show to come out the day after Christmas on Friday to get you ready for Saturday. But you know, just a quick high-level notes on how you feel about the Texans game and what do you think that needs to happen in order for us to get a victory on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, 2 top 5 defenses going at it on Saturday. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I hope the Charger staff on the plane ride back home yesterday was watching that Raiders-Texans game. The fact the Raiders with that offense put up 21 points on that defense is very telling.
It is.
So take some notes from that game. And, I think the Chargers can definitely win Saturday. Just the way this team has been playing out of the bye, like they are just finding different ways to win each week. You look at the Eagles game, that defense really won that game for them. So I think they have a good of a shot as anyone to win Saturday. I think going into this game right now, ESPN has them at a 2.5 point favorite at home.
You're correct.
So that's a good sign, but you're going to have to run the ball, quick throws for Herbert, a lot of play action. Hopefully this offensive line can hold up against that defensive front, because they will be coming hard for Herbert on Saturday.
Oh yeah, definitely that. All right, RG, what you got?
Yeah, man. I mean, just sharing the same sentiments. I think, you look at how the hell did the Raiders put up 21 on the Texans? I think a bigger surprise to me is how the hell did the Texans only put up 23 with a pick six on that terrible Raiders defense? I mean, to only hold that offense to 16 points, and again, that touchdown at the very end of the game, which I'm not a Raider fan. I'm not even going to begin to say I'm a Raider fan. But that 3rd and 20 PI was BS, dog. That ball was 10 yards over his head, and they just completely gifted the Texans that game with that call right there. So not even going to get into that, but that Raiders game, although they lost, probably gave me more confidence going into this game than anything else could have this year, because that offense looks like it's struggling even more than it did last year when they obviously whooped us in the playoff round. Don't want to bring that up again.
Bad memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said Taylor's sentiments about running the ball. I think that we need to lean on them early and often, establish a line of scrimmage and lean on their defensive front, get them tired, and that would kind of taper and calm the pass rush. Stay out of 3rd and longs for sure, so that pass rush can't get ramped up and get around to Herbert in a large space. I think those two things need to happen, and I think Greg Roman needs to run a lot of. Now he has a better receiving core this year than he had in the playoffs, obviously. But he definitely needs to dial up his man beaters, because I promise you this, the Texans have the capacity and will run a lot of man coverage on this team. So they're going to have to win against man. We can't have the situation a couple of weeks ago. We had wide receivers bumping into each other in press coverage and things of that nature, falling down, things of that nature. It's going to just throw off the rhythm and time, and we're going to get a lot of turnovers. Those things happen. So we have to corral the receivers and get them free and get them open and dial up your man beaters, Greg. That's all I can really tell you. Dial up your man beaters and get those guys free. The short intermediate routes, and allow them to win in man coverage. And be careful about throwing to Derek Stingley. That's all I can really tell you. The kid's a stud. So yeah, be strategic about it, and dial up your spreads, your combos, your trips, formations where they can't get free hands on guys, and allow them to run free and roam, and we can get guys open and use Ronda Gaskins too, because he's a big target in the middle, and I think he has a mismatch in the middle against these linebackers, no safety. So I definitely use him a lot in the pass game as well. So I think those are some vital things that need to happen for the offense to move the ball for sure for me.
Yeah, having Keenan Allen for this game is going to be absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Yes. If anybody but Derek Stingley, he's going to get open because he's nobody can be able to cover him man-to-man. He's just too good route running.
Yeah.
Good at it. Okay. And of course, Ladd had a great game against them last year, despite not having no help. So if you allow Ladd and Quentin and Keenan to have a field day, that's going to open up everything else for everybody else. So I definitely believe that if you're smart about it, you'll utilize these weapons as you have them. So,
Absolutely.
All right. So any final words for the pod before we get out of here?
Well, I will be at the game on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that.
Will I.
Sweet.
There you go.
Sweet. Awesome.
Oh,
yeah. I'll be pregame. I'll be around the tailgate at one of the DHBC tents. So be getting some content for vlogs. So if you see me, come say hi. But I'm looking forward to this last stretch of the season right now. I really think the Chargers can take care of business on Saturday, get another win, and then go into Denver. Bo Nix is 0-3 against the Chargers in his career.
How about that?
We can make it 0-4. I really think this team has legitimate shot at winning the division. Their percentages after Sunday, they went from 9% to 30% to win the AFC West. So
like it.
Anything is possible. Bo Nix could, also have a choke game on Christmas against the Chiefs. Crazy things happen. I don't think it'll happen, but it's wishful thinking. But I think that the Chargers have a legitimate shot to win the AFC West, but they got to take care of business and they control their own destiny.
Love it. I love it. All right, RG, you got anything final to give to the fans before we get out of here?
Yeah, just, piggybacking once again off what Taylor said. I mean, we are in prime position. I don't think as Chargers fans we've ever felt this confident about a team missing both their starting tackles this late into the season. And, only Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter and Joe Ortiz, Herbert, they're just making it happen. They are willing this team to relevance, whether the media wants to admit it or not. The Chargers legitimately have a shot to go 6-0 and sweep the entire AFC West. I mean, I can't even remember the last time they did that. I mean, maybe in their Super Bowl, or in their,
the party years.
Yeah. The LT, Gates Rivers years, man. Mm-hmm. But it to really, and if they're able to do that, regardless of what happens in the playoffs, man, Chargers are here. They have arrived and just wait till they get their tackles back.
I love it. Yeah, I shared all those sentiments. And one game at a time, got to take care of the Texans at home, and then we'll see the Broncos a mile high. But yeah, man. So if you're looking for the Electric Shock Podcast in any space, here's our social media platforms. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Let them YouTube algorithm know we're doing big things out here. We can be followed on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, or even Gmail. Electric Shock Pod on all platforms. And before we get out of here, we want to give Taylor a quick shout out. Please let them know how they can reach you in any particular platform if they want to reach you in any space on any social media or YouTube.
Yep. So on YouTube, the Electric Edge Podcast. And then on socials, my handle is Electric Edge Pod. I'm on X, TikTok, and Instagram.
Awesome. All right. So we'd like to once again thank our special guest, Taylor, from the Electric Edge Podcast. And we'll definitely have her on in the future, and we can chop up more and more Chargers football. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, Taylor.
Thank you so much, guys. Really
all right. And appreciated you as well. So as always, man, you got to do one thing and one thing well. You always got to remember to boat up.